The Galactic Empire sent its ultimatum across the stars with full confidence that Earth would panic. The message was sharp, formal, and loud, repeating across every communication channel in Terran space. Imperial leaders believed humans would react with fear. They expected surrender. They expected silence. But they did not understand how humans had changed over the years. On Earth, the message played on giant screens across cities, inside cafes, and even on handheld devices. People did not scream or run. They made jokes instead. Many citizens watched the broadcast like a sports match. Some even placed small bets on how fast the Empire would retreat. Humans were amused, not scared. At the Terran Fleet Command, Admiral Han Day-1 watched the Imperial ultimatum with calm eyes. He was a man known for his quiet strength and steady voice. His uniform was sharp, but his posture was relaxed, as if an interstellar threat was nothing more than an administrative report. "They are demanding we surrender our quantum core technology," Admiral Day-1 said to his officers. "They think we are children with toys." Several officers around him looked offended, but the Admiral simply gave a small smile. "Contact Captain Ryu Seojin. Tell him to lead the Horizon Task Group to the borderline. No aggression. No retreat. We show presence and wait." Captain Ryu Seojin was already preparing his ship when the orders arrived. The TFS Horizon was one of Earth's newest heavy warships, known across the Terran fleet for its powerful quantum engines and strong defensive systems. Seojin stood on the command deck with steady focus. He had a clear face, calm eyes, and the confidence of a man who trusted both his crew and the technology of his ship. Beside him, his first officer, Kong Mira, checked the ship's final readiness. She had a sharp mind and quick reactions, and she was known for her strict discipline. "Captain, all systems ready. Quantum shield is stable. Crew is at standby," Mira reported. Seojin nodded. "Good. Set course for the border zone. The Empire wants a reaction. We will give them calm." Within minutes, the Horizon and 3 escort ships moved into formation and jumped through slipspace. When they arrived, they found the Empire already waiting. Hundreds of Imperial ships floated before them, dark and metallic with glowing red lines along their hulls. The largest ship, a towering dreadnought, blocked the center like a proud beast. Imperial Commander Varric stood on the bridge of his dreadnought with an expression of pride and superiority. He believed humans were weak. He believed their fleet was small and inexperienced. "Terran vessels," Varric said into the open channel. "You stand before the might of the Galactic Empire. Surrender your technology, or be erased from this system." On the Horizon's bridge, several crew members rolled their eyes. Kong Mira let out a quiet sigh. "They are very dramatic," one of the navigation officers whispered. Captain Seojin remained calm as he listened to the Empire's demands. He tapped the communication panel and sent a simple reply. "This is Captain Ryu Seojin of the Terran fleet. We do not surrender Terran property. We do not retreat from Terran borders. We offer diplomatic discussion if the Empire wishes to avoid unnecessary conflict." The reply was polite, calm, and direct. It only made Commander Varric angrier. On Earth, millions watched the exchange live. The chat streams were filled with laughter and comments. Many people compared the Empire's speech to dramatic scenes from old movies. Others joked about sending snacks to the Empire so they would calm down. The Empire noticed the human laughter. Imperial intelligence quickly reported that humans were not afraid at all. Commander Varric was insulted. He believed fear was necessary for respect. "They mock us," Varric growled. "They do not understand the danger they face. They treat this like entertainment." He ordered his fleets to shift into attack formation. Massive ships moved into a wide arc, surrounding the Terran task group. It was meant to intimidate. It was meant to frighten. Terran ships simply adjusted their positions with relaxed precision. Inside the Horizon, the crew did not panic. Many had been trained for far worse. Terran military training was known for its strict standards and difficult simulations. "Captain, the Empire is forming a surrounding pattern," Mira reported. "Hold position," Seojin replied. The Empire pushed closer. Engines glowed with bright red energy. Their weapons warmed up. The space around them vibrated with pressure. Captain Seojin watched silently. Admiral Daewon's words echoed in his mind. No aggression, no retreat. The Empire would make the first move. Terrans would meet it with calm strength. Across the galaxy, members of the Galactic Council monitored the rising tension between the Empire and Earth. Many council members were nervous. Some feared that the Empire's pride would blind it. Others feared that the Terran fleet would unleash technology no other species had seen before. Council observer Liera, a quiet and thoughtful alien diplomat, whispered to her colleagues. Humans are not reacting. That is unusual. The Empire should be careful. Humans do not stay calm for no reason. But the Empire continued its slow intimidation march. Back on the horizon, Seojin received a long-range message from Admiral Daewon. Captain Ryu Seojin, maintain position. If they attack, defend with minimum force. Do not escalate. We are sending additional fleets, but they will arrive later. For now, you hold the line. Seojin gave a firm nod. Understood, Admiral. We will not break formation. Minutes passed. Tension grew. Imperial ships moved closer and closer. Every Imperial crew member believed that the humans would soon give in. They believed the Terran fleet would retreat under fear. But the human ships did not move. They remained in perfect formation. Quiet, steady, and unmoved. Commander Varric felt annoyed. Why are they not reacting? Why are they so calm? His officers looked confused as well. Their energy readings are stable, an Imperial technician said. Their crews show no signs of fear or stress. Some appear relaxed. Varric felt a chill of frustration. Nothing was working. Meanwhile, on the horizon, Captain Seojin stood with steady legs and a calm voice. He looked at the Imperial fleet with patience. They expect fear, he said softly. But fear is not a Terran reaction. We have faced worse challenges. We have stood against the unknown many times. They do not understand that we do not break under pressure. Kong Mira nodded. They do not understand us at all. As the Empire grew impatient, tension in the system thickened. But humans kept watching with casual amusement, and the Terran fleet stayed firm without firing a single shot. The stage for conflict was set, and the galaxy was about to witness what happens when an old empire challenges a calm and unshaken humanity. Captain Ryu Seojin stood on the command deck of the Horizon as the ship moved quietly through the dark of space toward the border zone. The slipspace jump had been smooth, and the Terran task group now drifted into normal space with calm precision. 3 escort ships followed behind the Horizon in a neat formation. Everything felt peaceful on the Terran side, but the space ahead was filled with tension. The Galactic Empire's fleet waited like a giant wall of metal and firepower. Hundreds of ships blocked the stars with their shadows. Red energy lines pulsed along their hulls. Their engines burned like bright eyes watching the Terran ships. It was clear they came to intimidate. Kong Mira stood at her station beside Seojin. She kept her eyes on the sensor screen, studying the movements of the Imperial Armada. Captain, their ships are forming multiple layers. Heavy cruisers in front, battleships behind, and several dreadnoughts at the core. They came prepared. Yes, Seojin said, his voice steady. But preparation does not always bring victory. The Terran crew worked quietly. No one panicked. No one raised their voice. They completed system checks, controlled their tools, and stayed focused. Terran discipline was strong, shaped by years of training and difficult simulations. Mira looked at another display and raised her eyebrow slightly. Captain, it seems the Empire is scanning our ships again. Their sensors are struggling to read our systems. Seojin gave a small nod. Let them try. Our quantum core systems are not something they can understand so easily. The Horizon's quantum shield glowed around the ship in a soft, faint blue color. It moved like a thin mist, almost invisible unless someone looked carefully. The Empire had never seen this type of shield before. Their computers could not understand the energy readings. It made their commanders uneasy. On the Imperial dreadnought, Commander Varric watched his crew struggle with the Terran signatures. His large hands gripped the railing in irritation. "Why can we not identify their energy systems?" he demanded. "Our scanners cannot break through their shielding." An Imperial technician replied nervously. "Their power structure is unknown. It does not match any recorded data." "Increase scan strength," Varric ordered. "We already did, Commander." "It still fails." Varric's anger grew. The Empire was used to understanding every enemy. They were used to feeling superior. But humans were different. Their technology was strange. Their behavior was confusing. And their lack of fear was insulting. On the horizon, Mira listened to the Imperial communications that leaked through open channels. The Empire was frustrated. She could hear it in their voices. "They still do not understand us," she whispered. Captain Seogene kept his calm expression. "That is normal. Many misunderstand humans at first. They expect us to fear what is bigger. But humans are not guided by fear. We are guided by purpose." Outside the ship, the Terran escorts moved into a defensive formation around the horizon. The ships TFS Dichin, TFS Hwarang, and TFS Guangxiong positioned themselves with perfect precision. Each vessel kept exact distance, balancing their shield layers and overlapping defense nets. Inside the horizon, various crew members worked with quiet confidence. The engineering officer, Park Sumin, monitored the quantum engines. She watched the energy flow with careful eyes, ready to adjust if needed. "Engines steady," Sumin reported. "Quantum drives are stable. No interference." "Good," Seogene said. "We may need fast movement if the Empire acts." As the minutes passed, the Empire continued to surround the Terran group. Their ships pushed closer like a tightening ring. Red lights flashed along their hulls as weapons charged. Navigation Officer Han Jaitai looked up from his console. "Captain, the Empire has moved dreadnoughts into the second layer. If they continue, they will completely encircle us within 10 minutes. Then we will remain calm for 10 minutes, Seogene replied. Jaitai nodded. He respected the captain's steady leadership. It gave the whole crew confidence. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, the Galactic Council watched the confrontation through long-range broadcasts. Diplomats and political leaders whispered and argued. Some feared war. Some feared the Empire's pride. Others feared humanity's unknown strength. Council observer Liera studied the Terran fleet closely. She noticed the calm behavior of the humans. She noticed the disciplined formation and the quiet energy of the ships. Humans do not behave like a young species, Liera said softly to another council member. They behave like a species that has seen many storms and survived. Her colleague nodded with worry. If the Empire pushes too hard, they may learn a painful lesson. Back on Earth, the confrontation was the top broadcast across all networks. People watched from homes, cafes, public plazas, and screens in crowded city streets. The reactions were lighthearted. The Empire is too dramatic, one viewer joked. They should relax. Humans are not that easy to scare, another said. Some even made humorous animations of the Imperial dreadnoughts bouncing off Terran shields like toys. It spread across the internet within minutes. Earth found amusement in moments of danger. It confused and irritated the Empire even more. On the Imperial dreadnought, Varric slammed his hand on the console as he watched human reactions. They laugh. They laugh at us, Varric shouted. We are the Galactic Empire. They should tremble. But humans did not tremble. The horizon remained still, like a calm mountain under storm clouds. Kong Mira received a report from the escort ships. Captain, the escorts confirm stable positions. Shields are synchronized. We are ready for defensive action if needed. Seogene nodded. Good. Make sure our weapons remain on standby only. No one fires unless I give the order. Yes, Captain. Seogene looked out the main viewport at the massive Imperial fleet. He wondered why the Empire still believed intimidation worked. He wondered why they failed to understand human behavior. Captain, Sumin called from engineering. Our shield readings show increasing pressure from their scanning beams. but the core is holding strong. Maintain stability, Seojin said. We must not show any reaction. The Empire pushed closer, and their strongest dreadnought, the Solar Dominion, moved into the front. Its engines glowed with intense red energy. It was easily 10 times the size of the horizon. On the Imperial bridge, Varric prepared a show of strength. Activate intimidation pulse, he ordered. Let them see the power of the Empire. A massive wave of red energy shot out from the Solar Dominion. It was not a real attack, but a strong threat display meant to scare enemies. The wave struck the Terran fleet. Nothing happened. Terran shields did not flicker. They did not dim. They did not even ripple. Inside the horizon, the crew barely noticed. Han Jitai blinked at his console. Captain, was that their intimidation pulse? Mira sighed. Yes, it was. A few crew members quietly laughed. On the Imperial side, Varric watched in disbelief. Nothing? No reaction, he growled. His officers looked pale. Commander, it seems the Terran shields are far stronger than expected. Varric tightened his jaw. Prepare the next phase. If they will not fear us, then we will force them. The Empire began charging weapons. On the horizon, Seojin stood calm, ready for whatever came next. The Terran fleet had arrived, and the galaxy was about to learn why humans were never shaken by old empires. The tension across the border zone grew heavier as the Galactic Empire prepared its next move. The Terran fleet remained still in perfect formation, with the horizon at the center like a steady anchor. Captain Ryu Seojin stood tall on the command deck, watching the Imperial ships glow with charging energy. The red lights along their hulls brightened, showing their readiness to strike. Kong Mira checked the sensors again and spoke in a calm but firm voice. Captain, the Empire is preparing a full attack sequence. Their weapons are charging on all main ships. Seojin nodded slowly. I understand. Keep all defensive systems on standby. No one fires without my order. The crew felt the pressure, but no one panicked. Terran training had shaped them well. They trusted their captain. They trusted their technology. And they trusted each other. Meanwhile, the Imperial dreadnought Solar Dominion glowed brighter as its main cannons warmed up. Commander Varric stood at the center of the bridge, his eyes sharp with anger. Terran vessels refused to react, Varric growled. They are either overconfident or foolish. We will show them the Empire's power. His officers nodded without hesitation. The Empire had never tolerated defiance. They believed victory would come through overwhelming force. They believed humans would finally understand their place once the attack struck. Prepare the warning barrage, Varric ordered. Fire when ready. Across the border zone, all Imperial ships shifted slightly in space. Their weapons pointed at the Terran fleet like hundreds of glowing eyes. Inside the horizon, the tension was quiet but controlled. Park Sumin monitored the shield core closely, her hands steady on the console. Quantum shield output stable, she reported. We can hold against energy weapons of this level. Mira nodded. Keep adjusting in real time. The Empire will not go easy on their first strike. Sumin gave a small smile. They can try. Our shield will not break. Seojin stepped forward and stood in front of the main viewport. The Imperial ships looked like a burning red field preparing to swallow the Terran fleet. Captain, Han Jitai said softly, do you think they will fire right away? Yes, Seojin replied. They have too much pride to wait any longer. The Empire finished charging their weapons. The moment had come. Fire warning barrage, Commander Varric shouted. A storm of red plasma beams and large energy bolts shot out from the Imperial ships. The wave of fire moved like a bright wall across the darkness of space, hitting the Terran fleet with full force. But the result was far from what the Empire expected. The horizon's quantum shield did not flicker. It did not shake. It stood firm like a silent guardian. The Terran escorts also held their shields steady. The entire barrage washed over the Terran ships like harmless wind. The bridge of the horizon remained calm. Han Jitai blinked at the readings. Captain, that was their full warning barrage. Kong Mira sighed lightly. Their weapons are strong, but not enough. Some crew members exchanged quiet smiles. A few even looked unimpressed. On Earth, millions watched the broadcast with casual amusement. That was it? One viewer typed. Terran shields are basically saying, try harder. Another joked. Many people laughed. Humans were calm, even entertained. The situation felt unreal to the Empire. Commander Varric stared at the sensor screen with disbelief. Impossible! Our weapons had no effect at all. He shouted. His officers ran checks quickly, but every result was the same. Commander, Terran shields absorbed everything without losing stability, one officer said with a shaky voice. Varric's anger grew hotter. Then we will strike again, this time with a full assault. He ordered every ship in the Imperial fleet to prepare their strongest weapons. They would not settle for a display anymore. They wanted to crush the Terran fleet. Inside the horizon, the crew watched as Imperial weapons charged again. The bright glow around their ships made the space feel heavy, almost suffocating. Yet the horizon remained unmoved. They are preparing a real attack now, Mira said. Seojin nodded. This was expected. They believe strength will force fear. They do not understand that humans do not bend so easily. Sumin adjusted the shield systems. Quantum core is ready for heavy impact. We can hold. Han Jaitai looked at the captain. Should we prepare counterattack protocols? Not yet, Seojin said quietly. We will defend. Nothing more. We wait for Admiral Daewon's next order. The Empire unleashed their second strike. A massive wave of antimatter torpedoes, plasma cannons, and heavy energy beams shot across the void. The explosion of red and white light filled the space between the two fleets. The Terran ships stood firm. The horizon's shield pulsed once, barely noticeable, and then stabilized. The escort ships also held firm. The combined attack, meant to shatter enemy ships, had no real effect. On the Imperial bridge, silence fell. Commander Varric felt his confidence crumble. How can they withstand everything? His officers gave no answers. Then something worse happened. A small notification showed up on Varric's screen. The Terran fleet had sent a message. He expected threats or arrogance. But the message was simple and calm. Imperial Command, this is Captain Ryu Seojin of the Terran fleet. Your attacks have been received. We request that you cease hostilities. Terran ships do not wish for conflict. The Empire felt insulted. A calm request. After surviving a full attack, they felt mocked. Varric growled. Terrans dare suggest peace after defying us? They insult our honor. Prepare the next volley. But before the Empire could fire again, their sensors detected something strange. The Terran escorts moved slightly, adjusting their position with perfect precision. They were not attacking. They were simply preparing stronger defense. Mira looked at her screen and reported, Captain, all escorts confirm position. Shield harmonization complete. We can now resist heavy bombardment for long periods. Seojin nodded. Good. Maintain absolute control. They will continue until they realize it is useless. As the Empire prepared their third attack, fear slowly grew among some of their officers. They had never seen an enemy stand unmoving under so much fire. They had never seen shields that did not weaken. They had never seen a fleet stay calm under such pressure. Varric ignored the creeping fear. Fire everything, he shouted. The third wave hit. Terran shields absorbed it again. Inside the horizon, the bridge remained steady. No alarms. No panic. Only quiet confidence. Shields at full integrity, Sumin reported. No damage on any ship, Han Jaitai added. Kong Mira looked at the captain. The Empire must be realizing their mistake now. Seojin kept his calm eyes on the Imperial fleet. They will understand soon. Humans are not a species to be pushed. We do not break when someone threatens us. We only stand stronger. Across the galaxy, the Council watched with wide eyes. Terrans had just survived 3 full assaults without a scratch. Many Council members whispered in shock. Some feared what would come next. At the border zone, the Empire's pride began to crack. Their greatest weapons had failed. Their intimidation had failed. Their tactics had failed. And they now faced a fleet that still had not fired a single shot. The Empire began to realize they had made a terrible mistake. And Captain Ryu Seojin stood ready for whatever came next. The Terran fleet stayed in a calm formation near the border, but every ship was ready for action. The crew on each warship moved with confidence and steady focus. They knew the Galactic Empire was not finished. They knew another move would come soon. Still, no fear spread among them. Instead, there was a strange quiet strength. People trusted their leaders, their ships, and their training. On the command ship Horizon Watch, Captain Daehoon stood beside the main display. His face was calm, and his eyes were sharp as he watched the Empire's new fleet gather at the far edge of the system. The ships were older compared to Terran designs, but there were many of them. The Empire wanted to show force. Maybe they wanted to save their pride. Maybe they wanted revenge. Daehoon looked around at his officers. Mi-jin stood at the sensor station, her hands moving smoothly across the controls. She checked power levels and traced the incoming ships with precision. Hanul worked at the defensive systems, running silent checks for shield patterns and weapon timing. J1 sat at communications, waiting for messages from Terran command and nearby ships. No one panicked. No one whispered fear. Everyone focused on their tasks. Far away on Earth, Jinhee reviewed live battle feeds from the council chamber. She listened to new announcements from military strategists. They spoke with steady voices, explaining the Empire's movement and possible risks. The citizens who watched the broadcast behaved the same way humans had acted since the first encounter. Calm, curious, almost amused. In one city, children pointed at the holographic screen and argued about which Terran ship looked the strongest. In another city, two elderly men debated the history of alien conflicts while drinking tea. They were old enough to remember earlier crises. Nothing about this one seemed unusual to them. Even in schools, teachers explained the situation like it was a regular lesson. Students took notes, asked questions, and moved on with their day. Humanity, once fragile and fearful in ancient times, had become something much different. Humans did not tremble before overwhelming odds. They studied them. Back near the border, the Empire fleet finally halted. A signal arrived. J1 nodded at Daehoon. Incoming message. It's direct. Daehoon crossed his arms and kept his tone relaxed. Put it through. A tall figure appeared on the screen. His uniform carried the Imperial crest. His name was Commander Ralvek, and his expression was sharp and self-assured. He looked at Daehoon like a man trying to measure the strength of someone he did not understand. Terran fleet, Ralvek began. Your earlier actions were bold. Some might even say reckless. The Galactic Empire does not appreciate such displays of disrespect. We expect full explanation for your interference in our territory. Daehoon did not flinch. We were defending our people and our space. The Empire moved against us first. We only responded. Ralvek raised his chin slightly. That is not how the Empire sees it. However, the High Council will allow you one chance to withdraw before more serious consequences occur. Hanul stood straighter, waiting for Daehoon's reply. Mi-jin glanced at the readings to confirm the Empire fleet was slowly powering up their weapon systems. Daehoon spoke calmly. Terran fleet will not withdraw. We will not start a war, but we will not run from one either. Ralvek's eyes narrowed. You believe your small fleet can stand against ours? J1 shook his head quietly. He still doesn't understand, he whispered. Daehoon answered simply, yes. Ralvek paused, unsure how to respond to such confidence. He expected fear. He expected negotiation. He did not expect steady calm. The transmission ended without further words. Mi-jin checked her instruments. Their weapon power continues to rise. They are preparing to test us. Hanul tapped the main screen. Shields ready. Defense grid aligned. J1 sent a short message to Terran command. Enemy preparing for engagement. Terran fleet ready. Inside the ship, the crew moved in harmony. Every sound felt precise. Every step had purpose. No alarms sounded yet, but the air felt heavier as tension quietly spread. The Empire fleet shifted into formation. Bright lights flashed across their hulls as weapon systems charged slowly. They wanted to scare the humans. They wanted to pressure them. But no ship in the Terran fleet moved. A small smile formed on Daehoon's face. They think we are afraid. Hanul smirked. They are wrong. Meanwhile on Earth, Jinhee listened as analysts described the situation. The citizens showed mixed reactions, from mild interest to boredom. Some people joked about the Empire's dramatic slow approach. Others simply continued their chores while the broadcast played softly in the background. Humans had become used to danger. Back at the fleet, Ralvek sent another signal, but this time it was not a message. It was a single test shot, a bright beam sent from a distance. It did not aim at a ship but near the Terran position. The Empire wanted to show power without starting a full battle. The beam cut through the dark space and exploded far away from the formation. Daehoon did not blink. Hanul, hold position. Do not fire. Hanul nodded. Holding. Mijin checked readings again. Their sensors show confusion. They expected reaction. And it was true. Aboard Ralvek's command ship, officers spoke in low voices. One said, "They do not respond. They did not even adjust formation." Another added, "Humans show no fear. Their behavior is not logical." Ralvek clenched his jaw. "Increase pressure. Bring the fleet closer." Terran ships stayed still as the Empire slowly advanced. Daehoon watched quietly. "Let them approach. We will not lose our calm." The crew followed his lead. Minutes passed. The Empire fleet drew closer and closer, entering what most species would call a dangerous distance. Yet Terran ships rotated slightly, like they were adjusting position for comfort rather than fear. Mijin whispered, "At this distance, many would retreat." Daehoon replied, "But humans stand." Even as tension built, Earth continued its day. Children laughed. Workers moved through busy streets. Families cooked meals. Screens displayed updates, but people felt safe because they trusted their fleet. Back on the Horizon Watch, Daehoon finally spoke. "Prepare for a controlled display. Only if needed." His crew nodded. The Empire fleet came close enough that any species would feel threatened. Daehoon stood tall. His voice remained soft. "Hold steady." Terran ships did not move. And at that moment, Ralvek realized something that sent a chill through him. Humans were not bluffing. They were genuinely unafraid. And that was more dangerous than any weapon in the galaxy. The Galactic Empire fleet moved closer, but the Terran fleet still held its ground without fear. The ships shined under the distant light of a nearby star, standing in a calm formation that looked almost peaceful. Captain Daehoon kept his eyes on the display, watching every detail without showing a hint of worry. His crew followed his steady presence. They trusted him and they trusted the strength of their fleet. Mijin checked the sensor readings again. Their power levels continue to rise. They are pushing harder. Daehoon nodded. "Let them. Humans do not run." Hanul kept her hands ready on the defense system. She breathed slowly, making sure her movements stayed controlled. J1 watched communication lines for any new signals from Earth or from the Empire. The whole bridge stayed quiet except for the soft hum of the ship. Far away on Earth, Jinhee walked through the council chamber with a serious but calm expression. Screens showed the enemy fleet advancing, but the people around her talked in normal voices. Some leaned back in their seats. Some ate snacks while watching. Others wrote notes as if studying a lecture. Jinhee paused at the main screen. "They are coming closer than expected," she said. One council member shrugged lightly. "Terrans are not worried. Captain Daehoon knows what he is doing." Outside the chamber, in the cities below, life moved normally. Some people watched the live feed as entertainment. A group of young students pointed at the ships and argued about which one would fire first. One man in a shop laughed and said, "Empire is too dramatic." Humanity had grown strong, not because of giant ships or powerful weapons, but because they learned how to stay calm under pressure. Back at the border, the enemy ships adjusted their formation again. This time they were close enough to lock weapons fully. Light glowed across their hulls. The Empire wanted to show they would not back down. Daehoon stood tall. Hold steady. Wait for their move. Mi-jin whispered. They do not understand us. Daehoon nodded. Not yet. A signal came through. Jae-won lifted his head. Another message from Commander Ralvek. Daehoon said, "Put it on screen." Ralvek appeared again, but this time frustration showed on his face. Terran fleet, your refusal to respond is unacceptable. You will stand down or face full attack. Daehoon answered calmly. We will not move. Ralvek slammed his hand on his armrest. Do you think your ships can survive the full strength of the Galactic Empire? Daehoon did not blink. Yes. Ralvek stared at him, stunned again by the simple reply. Your confidence is misplaced. Daehoon replied, Our confidence is earned. Without another word, Ralvek ended the transmission. Hanul said quietly, Weapon locks detected. Mi-jin added, Their engines are shifting. They may begin a forward push. Daehoon breathed in. All ships prepare for display. Do not fire unless I say so. Every crew member understood. The Terran fleet did not power up for attack. Instead, their ships released a controlled pulse, a low-level energy wave that spread outward like a soft ripple. It was a harmless display, but it required technology far beyond what the Empire could understand. On the Empire ships, alarms blared. Officers shouted in confusion. Their screens showed strange readings that made no sense. One officer yelled, Their power levels are off the charts. Another shouted, Our sensors cannot read their systems. Ralvek stood up in shock. What are they doing? They are not attacking. They are showing us something? His officers looked terrified. To them, the pulse felt like a warning from something far stronger. Back on the Horizon Watch, Hanul reported, Reaction confirmed. They believe it is a threat. Daehoon nodded. Good. Now hold position. The Empire fleet slowed. Their formation wavered. No ship dared move forward. Mi-jin smiled softly. They finally understand. On Earth, Jin-hee received the new readings. She looked at the council members and said, The Empire is hesitating. The council leader nodded. Then the message is clear. Jin-hee watched citizens cheering on screens across cities, laughing and proud. Children clapped as the Empire ships backed away slightly. People felt no fear, only satisfaction. Terran Command sent a short message to Daehoon. Maintain presence. No aggression unless attacked. Daehoon acknowledged and turned back to his crew. Minutes passed. The Empire fleet finally sent a new signal. Jae-won opened it. Commander Ralvek appeared again, but his tone was different now. Less pride. Less anger. We will withdraw for now, Ralvek said. But this is not over. The Empire will return. Daehoon answered, We will be here. Humans do not run from challenges. Ralvek stared for a moment, then ended the call. Slowly, the Empire ships pulled back, returning to the far edge of the system. Their lights dimmed as they turned away, leaving the Terran fleet behind. Hanul let out a soft breath. They are leaving. Mi-jin smiled. They learned something today. Jae-won added. They learned humans are calm even when faced with danger. Daehoon watched the enemy ships fade into the distance. And they learned we are not afraid. Back on Earth, cheers spread across cities. People celebrated, not because they loved war but because they trusted their strength. The message was clear. Humanity would not bow to anyone. Jin-hee stepped outside the council building and looked up at the sky. She felt proud, not just of the fleet but of every person on Earth. We stand together, she whispered. In space, the Terran fleet slowly relaxed its formation, but the ships stayed ready. Daehoon knew peace might not last forever. The Empire would return one day, but when they did, humans would face them again with calm hearts and steady minds. He looked at his officers. Good work. All of you. The crew nodded, each one proud and relieved. As the stars shimmered around them, the Terran fleet held its silent watch. The galaxy was large and many threats would come. But humanity had shown the truth once more. They were not the old fragile race the galaxy expected. They were something stronger. They were unafraid.